Please don't go back on the pause and listen when I said Columbus would be my wild card team.
Hello and welcome to the What the Nuck podcast, the podcast for Canucks fans. I'm your host, Roddy, alongside my good friend and pal, Gunbir Bahia. Come on down. That's my jank-ass soundboard right there, okay? That's some round of applause for you, buddy. Yeah. It's probably not going to sound good on the
podcast. He told me it was sick. I can't wait for the intro. I loved it.
I'm glad you did. Yeah, let's get right into it here. So, the Vancouver Canucks are back at the top, first in the NHL. A record of 29 wins, 11 losses, and 3 overtime losses. They have the most regulation wins at 29. The Winnipeg Jets are at second with 28. And yeah, man, this team is just killing this road trip. Prabby had a prediction for me at the start of this road trip, saying that we go 6-0-1. They're currently 5-1. If they win in Columbus on Monday, they'll be 6-1, which props to him. He pretty much got it. I thought like, this would be like, he is. I genuinely thought this would be like a 5-2 road trip or like 4-3. Like it was a tough road trip. And you know, you see what they did in Buffalo. Like Buffalo, it kind of took them a bit to get their legs, but once they got going, they got the goal and they defended that lead to a 1-0 shutout for Demko. But let's get into the Canucks and Penguins game here first. What do you like in that game, and who was the biggest standout player for you in that game?
Brock Besser, baby. The guy's just an absolute stud. Not really. It was actually Demko because I started watching the third period, and Bells when I started watching live, and he was an absolute wall. Like we were absolutely sending him everything we had. That was prime like year ago Canucks, just shelling Demko anytime he needed. But he was definitely the standout for that game. Besser obviously a lot of line. I don't think we can say enough good things about them. So like that line is just ridiculous. Now PD Miller, Besser, even Talkie was saying like he can't even break them up now because we'd riot, which is true. But that line is ridiculous. And it adds to that we should be, adding a top 6 and stuff like that. But that line itself and the third line, or second line, I guess now, with Garland and Joshua, so good. There's so many standouts. It's hard to even pick a standout even over a week, man. There's so many players that can be shouted out each week just for how well they've done.
Yeah, it's such a... There's so many good storylines going on around this team right now that it is actually difficult to pick. Like this whole road trip, Pettersson has 7 goals on this road trip already, and yeah, the Lotto line being reunited
right there.
Yeah, that's he's a huge standout on this road trip for sure. But to what you just said too about Demko, like when that third period hit and Pittsburgh was pushing too, this game had like a playoff atmosphere to it. Like the crowd was buzzing. They were like hollering for calls, and they were getting a few of them too. Where I was like, probably shouldn't have been a penalty. But that's the other thing too. Like this Canucks team, like it's not the best penalty kill in the world, but it's definitely a huge improvement compared to last year being dead last. Huge shout out to the penalty kill in this game and the Buffalo game. Like they held their own in the third, Demko being the best PKer of them all. And yeah, he was just absorbing every shot. There's no rebound on Demko right now. And he had the one save in the third. I know it eventually got tied by Crosby, but Crosby had an open net and Demko was down in the butterfly already. And he did like a quick little like extend, like he went back into like a plank position and then spreaded it out again, and he completely robbed him. Like it was one of the nicest butterfly saves I think I've ever seen, to be honest. Like I was like Luongo-esque. Like it was incredible.
He's been showing up on this road trip, like highlight reels every night. Even the Buffalo game when we get to it, but he had a immaculate save in that one as well. Pittsburgh in general, like as a team, just the offensive firepower they have, like obviously they have not been doing as well as people probably thought they would, but they still Crosby, Gensel, Malkin, Carlson, Letang, and Raquel, I think it was at the end on this 6-on-5, and then it was like a bounce too that went in. But also, if we're gonna talk about Pittsburgh, I might as well talk about they dive a lot. I didn't honestly not know that. Shout out to Stanchion, who had so many gifts and stuff like that, showing like all their absolute dives. Olympic caliber dives.
No, the one the one in particular, like when the game kind of started to get chippy, it seemed almost was like Crosby and Miller were going at it. Miller takes not rightfully so. It was a dumb penalty. He cross checks Crosby like right in the back, close to the neck actually, which I don't like either. Like I want to see Crosby, you know, play his good game and not have to get into shit like that. Anyways, they go to the power play. Nothing happens of it. And then the whole game after that was like people were starting to finish their checks like every which way, like bodies were flying everywhere. Latang is coming up the ice like at center ice. He tries to hit Miller back or something like that, right? And this is what you're talking about with the stanchion. Like he
Yeah.
tries to hit Miller back. Miller turns around, sees him there, and like goes to grab him, and then Latang literally falls as if he gotten shot. It was insane. And the crowd was like calling for a call there too, and it's like you're not gonna get that. Like,
I get the crowd because they can't see it that well. They just see their player go down.
of
But like the
of
refs and stuff,
course,
they don't call dives anymore. Like I think the only time they'll ever call embellishment is as a coincidental. Like they'll still call the
yeah.
roughing or interference, whatever they call, but then they'll call embellishment as well. So I don't know if they just straight up don't call that anymore, or if it's like embarrassing to call on the players, but they should because that
No,
one was terrible.
yeah, exactly. And just seeing, I don't know, like this game, like Vancouver still came out on top, but it was one of those games where like yeah, if they lost in overtime, that would have been a backbreaker. Like at least they got the point. But man, if they happened to lose that because of all the power plays that Pittsburgh was getting gifted there for a bit, I would have been kind of pissed because they kind of dictated the game there at that point. And then there was a few moments where I thought Vancouver should have had one and they didn't get a power play and whatever. But yeah, Demko held the ground. Crosby ties it late in this game. Lucky bounce, but again, since it hits Crosby, guy's a clutch player.
Yeah, he knows where to
Off to
be.
OT. Yeah, he does. Off to OT they go, and I don't know about you. I was so nervous this whole OT because it's not like Pittsburgh had like the better. They kind of did have like slightly better chances at the start, but both teams are kind of feeling each other out. And like you said, the star powers on both teams. You have Pedersen, Miller, Hughes, Besser, and then you have Crosby, Malkin, Letang, Carlson. Like it's such a good 3-on-3 matchup. And anyways, yeah, they're playing, and Gensel has a couple of nice chances there. He drives it to the net, nothing happens. Then there's like a sloppy change by Vancouver, 3-on-1. Roenick makes one of the
Yeah.
nicest like kick save, like stopping a 3-on-1s I've ever seen, and then Springs, our boy, game winner guy. That's
Oh
what we got
yeah.
to call him, I guess. Elias Pettersson gets a breakaway. Crosby's right on his tail. Can't uh can't stop him enough, and he squeaks it through Jari's 5-hole, and the Canucks win 4-3 in overtime.
I still think that PD move, just that I like the slowness of it too. Like the puck just trickles too, and that was the
Mm-hmm.
best part of it. Like it just like especially because Roenick had that great stop, and it's always exciting too
Mm-hmm.
because it's like the camera pans to like our end when they're going, and then like you just don't see all the Canucks there, but you see three Pittsburgh and Roenick's got the puck, and you're like, oh shit,
Yeah.
he's about to toss it. I didn't know who it was
Yeah.
either. Then he's like
Yeah.
Patterson on the breakaway, and I'm just like, God damn, he's gonna do it.
It was such a cool moment too, because it was yeah, Crosby's chasing him. Like he's trying to impede anything
Yeah.
which way, so like Pedersen can't get the goal. And the other thing too, Pedersen's probably a little gassed at that point, or maybe he just like when he got sprung, I feel like he was not going. So Crosby was able to catch him a little bit. But then too, to have the patience and poise, I was talking to Prabby about this. Like he had no shot until Jari opened up. He knew Jari had to open up to go across the way he did, and he just put
Yeah.
it in the one spot that was open for like a split second, goes in the back of the net. And you don't see Pedersen's
Final.
a pretty humble guy. You don't really see him celebrate too much, but when he goes behind the net and he goes down on his knee and does a big like fist up like that, like oh, it fired me up, man. What a game. That was a really fun one to watch. And yeah, the team ended up traveling to Buffalo after this. What are your
The
thoughts on this game?
blizzard.
Yeah, the crazy blizzard there. They canceled the Buffalo Bills game, I believe, on that Saturday as
Yeah,
well.
they postponed it till Monday.
Yeah.
Fair enough, because apparently they're snowed in, but they let us play, which is nice because I didn't want to go. The Canucks have to travel again to Buffalo. That's just a headache.
Yeah. No, so yeah, Vancouver played here. Do you have any star players in this game that you liked, or did you like the way they defended the one goal lead all
This
the way
was
through,
a
or
pretty easy star player. the first star of the game, Thatcher Demko again. The guy's just
Yeah.
putting on a show, gets his 4th shutout of the year, and he what do you call
Mhm.
it? Just he had that amazing glove save. I don't know if you have it in your notes who it was on, but he had that one where he just
Middle
crosses and
step.
just gets middle stat. There we go. Just
Yeah.
absolutely robs him. And like in a
Mhm.
1 goal game, like obviously, and not a 1 goal game, it's a 1-0 game. That's obviously
Yeah.
the difference maker. So
Mhm.
Demko obviously was the star of that game, but I actually walked into this one a slightly late as well. The first thing I saw was just Miller sitting in the box and the refs arguing if it should be a major. So so I
Yeah.
walked in pretty confused when I saw that. And that
Yeah.
was the
No,
other
I'll,
story of the game, if you wanna tell what happened there.
yeah. Um, well, for sure, the one thing I just wanted to mention on that Demko save, I see that go across, and I'm like, "Oh, fuck, that's probably a goal." Empty cage, and then, like, he doesn't flash the glove like Luongo did, but when you could tell when Demko's on because he'll catch it, and he'll just keep it there. Like, he's like, "Look what the fuck I got, man." And, oh, it
Nice.
was such a good save. Middlestat was in disbelief too. They panned to his face after. But yeah, to give context to what you're talking about here. So Miller hits Darlene, and the ref was there too. So they kind of like, he kind of pinched the ref and Darlene, and it looked clean from the contact, but the like, what's it called, Darlene's head snaps back. I believe it was his shoulder, his left shoulder, that hits Darlene's head. So although Miller wasn't trying to like intentionally headshot Darlene, it's still a penalty, right? And
Yeah.
it's Buffalo's best star player outside of Tage Thompson. So Owen Power takes exception, tries to fight Miller with his gloves on. And he was like
Odd
just kind of
choice.
getting, yeah. Like I appreciate the set. Like I'm sure Darlene appreciates like him standing up for him, but at the same time, it's like if you're gonna fight, fight the right way. So, anyways, Miller answers the bell there, right? They go off for two, each of them. They refs didn't want to call that a fight because it really wasn't. And then later, Miller has another fight with Johnson, and
Yeah.
he actually won that fight like quite handedly and like or handily, sorry. And then like he like kind of tackled him to the ice. The thing I have a problem with this game is, Miller wasn't trying to injure Darlene. He answered the bell twice to players challenging him, and then the rest of the game for the Buffalo Sabres, it just seemed like they were targeting Hughes. Like the whole game, like Greenway tackled Hughes in a scrum for no reason when Hughes wasn't doing anything, and like they were just adamantly trying to like it seemed like take a liberty on our star player. So
Yeah. That was the whole thing. Like
yeah,
he
it
he
was it was
the
just a really
game polices itself. People argue
frustrating
that
thing
all
to
the time.
watch.
Game
See your
polices
star
itself. It
player
does
like
everything
potentially
that, you're
have
supposed
to get
to
his ice
fight when you
time.
do it.
Oh,
But
sorry,
I
you
just
cut out there.
Oh, I was cutting out there. Sorry, I was agreeing with that. It was just it's an odd way when you talk about the game policing itself, and then
Yeah.
like you're supposed to fight. Miller answers the bell twice. I get the Darlene injury. Maybe the ref should have probably just called an extra 2 on us there because
Yeah.
they know like they should probably get something out of that. Darlene comes
Mhm.
back. Miller's already
Yeah.
fought the second time, and you're gonna spend the
Yeah.
rest of the game running Hughes.
Yeah.
I would maybe understand if you're running Miller, but even then, Miller's already answered the bell twice. But just consistently running Hughes, that one in the corner with like Benson, or not by the net with Benson and Ronick,
Uh,
and then Greenway just decides to tackle
Greenway.
Hughes while he's at it. Like
Yeah.
that's straight up just intent to injure, and it just makes no sense on why Buffalo would continue to do that. And I'm a fan of Buffalo. Buffalo's probably my second team, but like
Yeah.
it's just clown behavior.
Yeah, it was. And like I don't know, in games like this, like even that Pittsburgh game too, for example, like it's playoff atmosphere. Players are starting to hit one another because of the Crosby Miller situation. And whenever that happens, I feel just like a worried mom, man. I'm like, oh fuck, like I hope Petey's gonna be okay in his next shift, and I hope I hope Hughes is too. Like, so yeah, I was a little pissed off about that. But again, like this game, yeah, like um all the praise has to go to Demko. Quick shout out to Brock Besser. Almost got his 28th, got disallowed. Even though that goal was offside,
Yeah.
that was such a snipe, man. He's on the right circle there and just rips one home top left on I don't even want to say his name, so I'm just gonna say UPL. Little abbreviation there for that goalie from
Ukapeka.
Buffalo. Ukapeka, yeah. Yeah, and then Sam Lafferty gets a lone goal in this one, 10th of the year. What a signing by Alvin, man. Traded for a fifth round pick, Sam
Yep.
Lafferty. 10 goals. And then, yeah, Greenway, too. Again, another scumbag move. Hits him after the whistle. I don't know if you saw that, but
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah,
I
Laffer
don't
didn't
know.
even get time to celebrate his goal.
Yeah, no, he literally he scores. He's like about to go to like the corner to hug the boys or whatever. Greenway hits him, and like his celebration was him going, "What the fuck was that?" And Hoaglander's like taking him to the corner, like, "No, let's celebrate over here." So yeah, no, this game was just a defensive game for Vancouver. The fact that they were able to hold on to a 1 goal lead all the way, like from early in the second to the end of the third, like that just speaks to how much this team's like improved defensively too. Obviously, Demko too, not letting out any crazy rebounds or anything like that. Like it was just a very solid game for this team defensively.
Yeah, it's just one game where we haven't scored a lot too, so it was not. I've seen people worry like, oh, the Pilato line got shut down outside of that. I guess Besser goal and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it's one game. That I don't have too
Mm-hmm.
many worries about that. I haven't checked, but I'm pretty sure we scored like out of these 6 games, we're probably averaging like 4 goals a game. We've been absolutely
Yeah.
pumping teams for a while now, so I'm not worried about our offense whatsoever. But it was just the fact that yeah, Demko can still absolutely steal us games, which he's done for years.
Oh, for sure he has. Yeah. No, but these games he's just come in clutch, and especially on the road, I find with like the home team having the home ice advantage with the last change and everything. These are crucial games for goalies to be able to like come in and steal you wins. And DeSmith got one for us as well this trip so far. And no, the boys are just rolling right now. That's 5 in a row. They're looking to make it 6 in Columbus on Monday. Another little tidbit I wanted to get uh, or to show you here is Pedersen. He becomes the third player in NHL history to score 4 straight game-winning goals. The only other guys to do this, you're gonna love this name. I might name my kid this. Newsy Lalonde. February 1921 is when he did this. He did it 5 times
1921.
for the Montreal Canadiens. And Daniel Alfredson did it 4 times, same as PD in 2007 when he was on that very good Ottawa Senators team.
That slightly decent Ottawa team.
Yeah.
I think
So
PD probably got the record because it was he's probably the one that did it on the road. I'm not gonna make you look
yeah,
at
he
the
got like
stats
the
or
first
something.
player. He becomes the first player in NHL history to do it 4 straight on the road, but he's the third player to do this like all time.
I'm breaking records
That's
out
street
here.
exactly casually too. And when he was asked about it too, I believe Kate Peterson was asking him the question. He had like this really wholesome smile, and it was just like really nice to see him like get acknowledged for his dominance this year so far. And like yeah, the boys are rolling. So yeah, I have a question for you within this road trip so far. Like what's making the Canucks keep winning these games consistently, or like just like is it depth scoring? Is it like standout players right now reuniting the Lotto line? Like what's your biggest takeaway from this road trip and how they've been able to stay dominant?
That was that lotto line. I think that was the main thing. We put them on and then immediate success. Like we've been talking
Yeah.
about PD. I think there's been a lot of arguments between you and me about his wingers and
Hmm.
stuff like that and what he needs to do. But you put him with this kind of skill and like the
Yeah.
results speak for themselves. So I think
Hmm.
the one thing this road trip, yeah, absolutely, that you could look at Demko and then the Lotto line, and then obviously that wow, they're calling it the thirst line. I don't know if that's what we're sticking with.
What for
Yeah,
Joshua Bluger and
yeah,
Garland?
yeah.
No way. Who's calling it that? Because
I've
that's
just
not
read it
it.
on Reddit. I've read it on Reddit and Twitter now. It's thirst line, and I'm
Yeah.
like, is that the best we're gonna do right here? Seen them called the
Yeah.
lifeline.
There's no name for that line. Like Lotto line is like as good as names come. Okay. Like
Lotto line is just
you can't.
perfect. That's the stars aligning.
It is. That's the stars aligning. You can't have a perfect name for every line. Like I don't know. I'm just calling this line all reliable, man. They keep going out
Oh,
there. Corolla
reliable.
Garland. Yeah, man. They're making it work.
Prius
Um,
Suitor, you love. I guess there's no Prius on this
eh,
line.
no, Prius Suitor, Corolla Garland, man.
We'll
Separate
find
lines,
others.
but both beauties.
What are
Yeah,
you
my
saying for
my
this
biggest
road trip,
takeaway.
though? Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, my biggest takeaway for this is just the game management from Talkett and the coaching staff. Like, you know, they've been rotating out. Not every game. They just did it once on this road trip, I believe. But Ian Cole and Noah Juleson in there. They've really limited to Hughes's ice time as well as Roenick's. Like Hughes didn't play on this
Yeah,
road trip so far. Outside of the St. Louis game, when we were trying to come back, he played 27 minutes. But outside of that, he hasn't played over 25. he hasn't touched 25 minutes since that game. So just seeing that, being able to like, and like too, I read the article that Trans posted just about his like 5 takes or whatever from the road trip, and just talking about Cole, like understanding like, we're trying to think of the big picture now, like, they're thinking about playoffs. So if they want to like have him sit to just be well rested come playoff time, like that's what they're gonna do. He's been just Talkett's been hitting all the right buttons too, and like you said too, um, his like idea or his like deal to switch Besser and Miller and put them together with Pedersen to get Pedersen going again, like just incredible decision making all the way through. And I yeah, props to this coaching staff. Demko too, Ian Clark, shout out to him. I'm sure I don't know about you, but I feel like with all the travel and the way the team is traveling to Columbus, because they're going through, they're busing to Toronto, then going from Toronto flying to Columbus.
Yeah.
So I don't know with that extra time there if they'll play to Smith or not for this next game, but might be a good idea to just give Demko a little bit of extra rest. We'll see, but
Yeah, it's Columbus too.
yeah, I guess I should have said that as well.
Yeah, it's Columbus. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Please don't go back on the pause and listen when I said Columbus would be my wild card team. Uh, They're absolutely cooked.
Yeah, they're not good. Let's just put it that way. Um, yeah, some other news here throughout the week. More Canucks, 4 more Canucks, that is, were named All Stars for Toronto. So they already had Hughes, right? Voted in as the
Yes.
representative of Vancouver. And they added Pedersen, Miller, Besser, and Demko. You think we should get Roenick in there
Way to
too?
dominate the votes. Like that was wow. Like all the
Yeah.
votes were Canucks and Toronto, I'm pretty sure. All that
Yeah.
was voted in. Good for us. We deserve it, honestly. And you can't make an argument that they don't deserve it either. It's not like we voted in
No,
like a John Scott or something like that.
no. All these guys are All Stars currently. Like,
Hughes and Demko
that's the
are almost
thing.
like guarantees, I want to say. Miller should also be making it as well. And then
Yeah.
Pedersen, like you just argue it. Then Besser's 28 goals. I can't even argue against any of them not making it.
No, yeah, like to your argument, like people are upset at how many Canucks are in there, and they're like, "Oh, why is there so much representation for Vancouver?" And it's like, do you see like Eli Tolvanen in the top 20 of scoring or whatever? You know what I mean? Like these guys like that are
It's
asking for
Oliver
their All Stars to
Bjorkstrand.
be in there.
That's going for Seattle, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm just saying like other teams that like want more of their
Oh,
stars
like
in
an
there.
extra.
It's just like, yeah, it's like you don't
Way to choose
deserve it.
Seattle. Seattle
We got
has
to get the
no stars.
I know we got to get the rivalry going somehow, right? Why
All
not
right.
start
Yes.
today?
Yeah.
Seattle, your team's
Ilya
bunk, even though you've won
Tolvanen.
8 in a row.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening
Um,
around the league.
but yeah, like Besser's fourth in goals with 27, and then you have JT Miller tied for fourth in scoring, Pedersen tied for sixth in scoring, Quinn Hughes Quinn Hughes is alone at 11 with 51. Like all these guys deserve to be here, and Demko's one of the winningest goalies this year.
Oh, yeah, by far, I think he's one of the best goalies, especially like in the West. We don't have good, or not, especially the Pacific. We don't have good goalies. Like Joey Decord, you want him to go?
No,
Joey Decord's pretty
uh,
sick though. The
he
guy's
has been
popping
lately.
off.
He's been on a heater. Yeah,
He's not a heater, but
no,
he's no Demko, not even close. I think we
no,
were we were arguing this too. Like we were, I remember me and Pravi at least. I said on this, definitely said this on the pod that Demko, by the end of the year, like we understood why people were, pumping his tires too much going into the year. But I'm pretty sure me and Pravi were incredibly confident that by the end of this year, people would easily have him as a top 5 goalie. Because
yeah,
there is that upper echelon of Igor, Sorokin,
hmm
Vasilevsky, Hellebuck, and I'm missing a goalie for some reason. I think there's or those are the top 3, and then there's 4. Oh, and then Saros. Sorry, those are the top 5 that people. And I'm pretty sure it's always those are the top 5, and there's a different order people might have, but
yeah,
those are the top 5, and those are great
hmm
goalies, no question asked. I would easily put Demko in that tier, unquestionably.
Oh, 100%. That's the thing with Demko too. Like his style of play, like I gotta keep comparing him to Luongo here. Like Luongo was very um like desperado kind of saves, and like he was able to, like, he had good positioning too, but Demko is just such a sound goaltender, like especially within that Pittsburgh game. Like there's one tease coming across the way, and then even the Buffalo game too. Like they're going cross seam, and Demko's just there every time. He's a sponge, man. He does not let out any rebounds. He's always just positionally sound, making the proper saves, not making it look difficult at all.
Yeah, and he's been like that other than that one stretch where he was most likely injured anyways. He's always
Mm-hmm.
been a top goalie as long as as long as he took the reins from us. It's just been our old defense. I won't laugh about them anymore because we have this new better defense. And look in the past year. Look at like this time last year we were peeved. Like it was the worst of times as a Canucks fan. Like truly an
Uh,
embarrassment on the
our
organization.
relationship was at an all-time low.
We were not chatting much because we couldn't deal with it.
uh,
But there was the Bruce stuff coming out, like all that. Like we knew he was gonna get canned. We knew. I think
mm-hmm.
at this point the Horvat trade rumors are like pretty much almost guaranteed, is what you're hearing.
Rampant.
Like a
Yeah.
captain's getting traded, or a coach was gone, and everything like that. So the turnaround in 1 year, because I don't know
Oh,
how
it's
much praise we've given him, but like Alvin and Rutherford,
mm-hmm.
those two, like because we the awards we've talked about Hughes, Norris, Vesna, the Jack Adams, but then I have no idea what the GM award's called. But Alvin should absolutely be a top contender for that.
Oh, no questions asked. Like every single one of their acquisitions, Lafferty, Bluger, Susie, Cole, um, wait, who am I forgetting? Anybody else? I
Yeah,
guess
Pierce
Roenick too.
Suter.
Like, yeah, I think I said yeah. Suter, Lafferty, Bluger, Susie, Cole, Roenick. Right on the
Yeah,
big club at least. Like everybody is hitting. Like Roenick's having a great year. He actually leads the league in plus minus. Um, no, this team's just a juggernaut. Like everybody's hitting. There hasn't been one signing where it's like, oh, like this guy could do a little bit better. The emergence of like that third line in Garland, Bluger, and Joshua being just a better player than what we thought he was going to be. Like everybody is buying in right now. There's not a guy on this team that doesn't want to be here anymore.
Joshua and Amon were both Alvin signings as well. Not in the past year, I'm pretty sure, but that was like the summer before, right?
Yeah, summer before they were as well. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like everyone they pick, like I'm literally trying to rack my brain for anyone that's been an actual miss,
Yeah.
especially this
And
season.
the
Like
other
there's
thing
not.
too, they've resurrected Talkanen, like Adam Foote and Sergei Gonchar. Like they've resurrected Tyler Myers too. Like they just limited his minutes. Like he's always out there in like the last minute, like blocking shots. Like I don't have a gripe with Tyler Myers. I'm like back in like just
True.
in awe watching him skate because he's just so tall and like same as Zadorov. Like I love watching them again. Like I don't know.
That bomb on Sorokin, like come
I
on.
want to. Yeah, yeah. Me and Pravi already talked about it, but my God, what a rocket, man! Comes down
It's
like that's like a
hilarious.
1980s goal right there, man. It's just perfect. And I'm struggling just to find something like negative to say or any concerns I have on this team. Like literally, the only thing I have right now is the power play. The power play is a little bit lackluster for how they're able to score 5-on-5. The fact that they can't make it work right now as much as they should is slightly concerning, but yeah,
Yeah, that's a little
that's
thing, and then that second line as well of Suter, Kuzmenko, and Mikheyev. Mikheyev's gone 10 games without scoring. Kuzmenko doesn't have a point since December 23rd. I can't remember if remembering that stat right, but
at San Jose, 2 goals.
yeah. So that second line has been a lot of questions. I don't know if you want to segue this into the fact that we want to be adding a top six and stuff like that. I know Rutherford has he's gone out on record and said it that he's looking for the defense and a top six forward. So
Yes, so I was gonna mention to you, Prabby created a poll on Twitter for us, asking the Canucks fans to see who they would like, and the 4 options were Elias Lindholm, who won the poll at 36%, Claude Giroux coming second at 22%, Jake Gensel 14%, someone else 28%. I guess so. Someone else is what other people would want second. So I want your take. Before I roast you with what our number one fan Elias said, are you okay? You want Tommy Novak still?
I demand Tommy Novak. Tommy Novak is my new Teddy Bluger, where I kept telling you guys for months we were gonna get him. Tommy Novak, he's already guaranteed a Canuck. All right. I'll just
Yeah.
defend Tommy Novak for a little bit. He can add scoring. He can play on the wing. He's cheap contract. I don't think people know this. All right, 800,000. That's kind of
He's
depth
only
piece we
800K?
need. Yeah, you think I'm paying for these 6 mil guys? 800,000. Tommy Novak.
Yeah.
Get him to throw in Luke Shen. All right, it's simple. Bring him here.
All
Don't
right.
even bring him here. He's gonna come here on his own. It's fine. Tommy Novak. Out of those three, I was actually quite. I know we want a 2C.
Mm-hmm.
Want to keep the lotto line together, and Lindholm. Like I'm never gonna question that. That would be a great addition to the team.
Yeah,
All things equal, though, Jake Gensel. Come on, guy's
I
sick.
know. No, so here's my thing. The lotto line, I want that together now just because seeing PD unlocking all of his talents once again with Besser and Miller is just incredible. I want Gensel because I wanted him to play with PD and have someone for Pedersen to play with, right?
Yeah,
But if we're going to keep that together, I do think it is just better just to get a center now at this point. So I'm on board with Lindholm. Like I said, I really like Giroux in the last pod. Also, now just because they are losing and they're going out like crazy, I thought it was heinous to say it, but Eriksson Ek, come on down.
yeah. Minnesota needs to start, selling a little bit. Like they've been decimated by injuries. Their recapture penalty is atrocious. So
Yeah,
they
ours
need
is
to
going to be
they need
soon.
to do something. Yeah, don't worry about it. That's a next year's problem. Hey, we're going this year. We're fine. Now it's no issue with the cap, even though our cap
No,
is
no.
still terrible. It's because we're a
Yeah.
competing team. We used to be
Hmm.
bottom barrel,
Yeah,
and we
yeah.
have cap
Yeah.
issues. I do
Yeah.
want to say for that lotto line sticking together, if Talkie believes it sticking together, looking around the league, and this is just me going off the top of my head, teams don't really have stacked lines like that. Like I don't think the perfection line was even sticking together last year between Bergeron, Marchand, and Pasta. I think they split them up the entire year. I know Point, Stamkos, and Kucherov don't play the entire years together.
Yeah.
Toronto don't put they put Tavares and Nylander and then Matthews and Marner. They rarely stack the three except for when they're trying to make a push. And I would like for
Hmm.
us to have that too. Edmonton, obviously, with Draisaitl and McDavid on separate lines. I that's why I would be fine with getting a top six forward, not just a second seed. What people are saying. I would be happy to get a winger and stuff like that. While I would prefer to get a center, just because they're just better to have. You
More
can throw them on the
versatile.
wing. Yeah, Tommy Novak
Yeah.
played on the wing for a bit last year as well, if you need it. Anyways, it just putting Miller Besser back together, which was a line that was, and then giving PD Gensel.
Hmm.
Like, come on,
I
you're
know. That
kind
would
of
be oh. And Gensel's already amazing with Crosby, so and I'm not saying Pedersen's better. I just like imagine him with Pedersen, who's like just a different
uh,
player. They're like both creative and oh, it'd be a treat to watch Gensel. So,
the
yeah, no,
cost would just be
my
ridiculous though.
oh the yeah, Gensel to me is like out of all the asking prices, I feel like Gensel would be the most expensive out of those guys.
Is it? It's just because he's expiring. I don't know if there's ever actually been real rumors that he's going to be traded. Like Lindholm obviously makes sense on why he'd be traded, just because Calgary's
Hmm.
a mess, and you
Well,
can talk
people
about
were just
Minnesota the same way.
yeah, and people were just throwing around the Pittsburgh one there because people think they're not going to make playoffs. They're still going to be making a push, so it almost seems a little unrealistic that they would want to give up on Gensel if they're still trying to go for it in Crosby's like last few years, right? So,
Yeah, if you just think they can re-sign him, maybe Kuzmenko's got another year on his contract. Like, I could see the argument for how we could maybe get it done. And
mhm.
I don't know if you know this, but Alvin and Rutherford have a deep connection to Pittsburgh.
I know. I
They,
thought we were going to smuggle him in on the plane home.
yeah. So honestly, it could have, but they obviously like talk to Pittsburgh a lot, anyways. So we'll see how it goes. Either way, I think did probably mention my Carolina take their
Yeah, very
2006
very
one.
briefly, just like the way that Rutherford went all in for Carolina in 2006 to win the cup.
Yeah, if you ever seen Carolina's team history, they miss playoffs, miss playoffs, miss playoffs, uh, win cup, miss playoffs, miss playoffs, miss playoffs. And it was the
Yeah.
the year before was the lockout year, but then Carolina comes in out of the gate monsters in 2006. Rutherford absolutely made. I think he made like six trades during the season. He traded away a first, a second, and I don't. I'm not gonna pretend like I know the prospects that he ended up trading, but he was trading away prospects and everything. He was more than willing to pull the trigger and get it done. And I think what's gonna happen is the same this year. And I have no doubts about it. I don't have any issue with selling futures right now to get it done.
No, if they're this is the thing, like this team right now is at the top of the league. They're officially first with like a separated point um over Winnipeg right now. Like they are first in the NHL.
Yeah.
Like people got to get that through their heads right now. Like we can't I don't know. Like, I know there's still some fans out there, I feel like, that are like doubting them and like just waiting for them to regress. Like, we're over halfway through the season now. Vancouver's at the top of the league. You have to go all in this year. The recapture penalty for OEL doesn't really like ding us until the fourth and fifth year, I believe, or third and fourth year it might be.
Next year's
And
like
this
2,000,000, the
year,
year after, and the year after that is 4 mil, I think, 4.3 or something.
exactly. So like this year and next year, go for it. You know, like you have to. It just makes sense. Um,
Yeah,
okay,
and we're
segueing
at the
from
top of the
this
league.
though. Exactly. Um, Now here's the thing too. This team is 100% making the playoffs. We don't know where they're going to be. Maybe they still stay top dogs. But with them having very little to no playoff experience outside of the bubble year, this core at least,
Yeah.
how do you see them playing in a playoff series? Like what's your take on just like how you think they can handle the adversity, the difference in the play and just everything?
This is something you did there, and a lot of fans are doing is they kind of gloss over that bubble year. I get why it was a different year, and the people say, "Yeah, Canucks lack playoff experience, stuff like that." But at the end of the day, we're not zero playoff experience for our core. They have
Yes, of
played.
course.
They have played playoff hockey. So
Mhm.
that's the thing I want to point out. And we asked the same thing when they had. I think Hughes and Pedersen were both point per game during that playoff run. I know
They
Bo
were, yeah.
Horvat was scoring like 10 plus goals. He was ridiculous that year
He
too.
did that.
Yeah, he was going nuts as well. I don't have too much of an issue with how I think they're going to play in the playoffs. You can kind of see like maybe argue the Buffalo game, like how Hughes is getting run, but that's not exactly how the playoffs would work. Like they were literally holding him and trying to
No.
throw him down every second. But
Yeah.
they've always been good at avoiding. I was just gonna say our style of hockey, the one that Taka teaches, and absolutely the system he has set up,
Yeah.
designed for playoffs too. He knows what he's doing. It's north south. It's
Exactly.
out the get the forecheck in on the boards, do it up, get the goals. I don't have too many worries. I'm just excited for playoffs at this point. I'm not worried for playoffs or anything like that. I'll be worried day one. Don't you worry. Game one, I'll have the
Oh,
jitters.
buddy.
I'll be spooked, man. But
Yeah.
I'm so excited. I'm not worried
Yeah.
about this team at playoffs. I'm just excited to see them there.
No, 100%. I'm in the exact same boat as you. We're gonna be hanging out a lot, man.
Oh
Come
yeah,
April.
watch every game.
Oh, yeah, it's gonna be great. I'm just ecstatic of where this team is at right now. I still gotta pinch myself here and there to be like, holy fuck, like we're actually good. Like Canucks hockey is so back, man. The league hates us. Like Canucks Twitter is just going
Oh,
off. They're like, you know what? Like, screw you guys. I don't care if you guys hate us. Like, we're just starting to have fun over here, and we are. We're having a great time. So, yeah, I'll just quickly mention the week ahead here, unless you got anything else to add.
no. I'll wait for Private to get here before we argue the pod calls if being untouchable because he deserves to be here to defend
Y-
himself.
Yeah,
I
I
uh,
was a
I
little.
disagree with Pod Colson being an untouchable, by the way.
Yeah, no, I questioned it a little bit when we were talking, but I maybe should have challenged a bit more because I'm like, again, how like Podkolzin to me is a tradable piece just because if you're going for it, you can't be like, oh, like Seelovs is untouchable too. He said Seelovs is untouchable. Man, the moment Seelovs gets me a package for fucking Elias Lindholm, see ya. Like
Now,
have fun
by the
in
way,
Calgary.
we're over 40 minutes, so I can go on random tangents now. Do you know that apparently for the fifth pick, Montreal was offered Askarov, the 15th and the 24th pick from Nashville. Like
Really?
it was a lot to ask for. I don't know. I guess they just really wanted that top goal. Like they just really wanted to. I probably pick Mishkov if I had to guess. I don't know who they were
Yeah.
aiming for that fifth pick, but they were really wanting it. Anyways, process get tossed around all the time. There's untouchables.
No.
Like, come on, man. This guy just saying don't touch any of them. You can have Jet
Hey,
Wu.
dude, the like the fifth round pick for Lafferty, people were like all up in arms, being like, "We got Lafferty for a fifth round. That fifth rounder is going to be Gretzky, and now Lafferty has 10 goals. Where are those people? They're done, man. They're not talking." Oh
We
my
were sick
god,
and tired of the draft picks getting traded. like,
I get
like,
that, I get that,
what
but
a
it's a fifth
ravenous
round
fan
pick.
base.
It's a fifth round pick.
Like
What are we gonna do with that?
fifth round pick. I actually can't
It's
name him.
good,
It's been any
exactly. And
fifth
like
rounder.
here's the thing, man. Fifth round picks are good if you're stockpiling and you're rebuilding. That you start like you could like trade them off after. Like it's not like necessarily a hit. the hitters are in the first and second round, and sometimes you get the outliers. It's like, holy shit, Datsuk went in the 7th or 9th round. I can't remember where they went, but Detroit
That
was
has
like
more
really
to
good
do
at
with your
stealing
scouting.
those.
That has more to do
Exactly.
with your scouting at that point, anyways.
Exactly. So I don't
If we're
know.
finding any
Like,
depth piece, it's going to be a Swedish prospect, anyways. I feel like all
yeah.
our scouts are in Sweden.
Like the one. Here's the thing: the ones that are untouchable right now, and these are the only two that should be, is Lekaramaki and Tom Willander, and maybe Brzezinski
Oh, I
Wicks,
can do my
depending.
Alvin impersonation. Man, my voice is gone after 43 minutes. Quote from Alvin. Even Gretzky was traded. Right? Untouchable? There ain't no such thing. All right. Do I think Willander would ever be traded by us? No. Do you think
No.
Lecker would? I see a world. I see a
Yeah,
world. All
maybe
right.
Lekaramaki because that's not his fucking name, man.
Dude, I can't pronounce that. It's so
Dude, it just
Lekaramaki.
Lekara. There you go. Nice.
Lekaramaki. I know how to pronounce it. It's just
Lekaramaki.
just the absolute whitewash on the name right there. Either
Oh
way,
man.
we can have the more of the untouchable conversation maybe during the All-Star break with Pravi, because that's maybe when we haven't traded yet and it would be ramping up. But I'll just say right now, I don't find too many untouchables. You trade whatever you can and see what
Exactly.
happens.
You go all in this year. Make it happen. I know Rutherford will and Alvin and Co will. So the
It's so
one
nice
thing
to
too
have
I was
so much
telling.
trust. Like
Oh,
they
I
can just
know.
do it. Even if they didn't, I'd be like, oh, okay, cool. They understand. They know what they're doing.
Yeah, literally anything Benning touched after a while was just like, oh my god, what did he do to our team? Like, so it is nice to have that trust again, where it's like, oh, they traded Beauvillier for this, like perfect. Oh, we got Ian Cole, Teddy Bluger, Carson Soucy, cool. It's just nice.
Nice.
Yeah. So to finish off the road trip, like we were saying earlier, the Canucks are going to be heading into Columbus for a 10 a.m. start. Depending on the traveling and stuff, they might postpone the game. I see, or not postpone it, but just delay it till at least 4 p.m.
Nice.
So
I
we'll
could actually
see.
watch it then.
I know it is kind of weird that it's on a Monday 10 a.m. game, but whatever.
It's Martin Luther King Day
Anyways,
in America.
oh, that's right. Yeah. So
We
if the
don't get a
Canucks win
holiday.
that, like we said earlier too, they can finish off with a 6-1 road win record, officially road dogs. And even if
I
they
wasn't.
lose it to 5-2, it's still
Random
solid.
stat. I was just scrolling through the score, just checking our past games. The last time we
Yeah,
lost to a playoff team, can you
yeah.
guess when
Last
it
time we
was?
lost to a playoff team, November 16th.
Dear God, you have a lot of belief. Wait, Minnesota's not a playoff team, are they? They're not in the playoffs.
No, Minnesota's not in the playoffs. No.
Okay, then it's the December 5th against New Jersey. Other than that, we've
Oh, okay.
another loss to like St. Louis, Minnesota, and Philadelphia. So who knows? Maybe Columbus can absolutely do something.
Yeah, maybe. I again, like I said, I thought the Buffalo game, the boys looked like they didn't get their legs till like halfway through the first. Maybe with a little bit of extra time of rest here, hopefully they can pull it off to go 6-1. And then yeah, the rest of the week the Canucks play Wednesday against the Coyotes back at home, and then the Maple Leafs on Saturday. Maybe let's let the Maple Leafs go up 3-0, and then we could win it. Nice little comeback win. They've lost
A little
2
story
with
for
3
them.
goal leads.
I should
Back to back
tell you
wins.
another random stat then, because it's 46 minutes in. I'm allowed these. All right.
Keep going.
And
Keep
I
going.
just saw this one, I think on Reddit, is
Yeah.
that this time last year we set the record for most blown leads in through 40 games.
Mm-hmm.
And this year we're like what, 29-0-0. We haven't lost after having a lead in the third. Knock on wood for
I
that one
think
as well. But
I believe they're 27-0 or something leading after 2. Yeah, it's crazy.
pretty nasty.
Yeah, no, so that's gonna do it for this podcast here. Yeah, the Canucks are just gonna keep on rolling, and we're gonna just keep being happy. No complaints. Thank you guys
None.
again. Thank you guys again so much for listening. You can follow our Instagram and X or Twitter at What the Nuck Pod, and our YouTube channel and TikTok at What the Nuck. This has been Gunny and Dryden on the What the Nuck podcast. Have a great week, folks.